Obviamente siempre hay alguna fallita que tengo que acomodar de último momento, pero ya estamos transmitiendo en vivo por YouTube y por Facebook en segunditos nomás, ¿eh? Así lo ven todos. Ya se viene Harrison Stafford. Tengo preguntas, muchas preguntas. Espero poder llevarlas a cabo. Y nada, espero que lo disfruten como lo voy a disfrutar yo. Charlar con un grosso de esta magnitud no pasa todos los días, ¿no? Así que prepárense, ya termino de setear todo y arranco con Harrison Stafford desde California. Está ahí con su familia, en cuarentenado o en quarantine, si fuese en inglés. Así que listo, ya lo voy a llamar al líder musical de Groundation que se va a sumar a esta charla. Todavía no se conectó, así que le vamos a enviar todo. Insta Groundation, ahí le mandé la invitación. Se viene la Quarantine Now with Harrison Stafford, the singer, the number one of Groundation. ¿Cómo va el inglés? Ahí ya le mandamos, esperando que se conecte. No sé cómo la están pasando en esta cuarentena, cómo se manejan con el inglés. Espero que él me entienda y que entienda a él. Ahí ya le mandé la data. Ahí lo tenemos. How are you, Harrison?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well, Marcus. How are you?
Very well. I am a little nervous because of my English.
Yes.
I will do my best.
Well, I give thanks that you try. My Spanish not so good.
Okay. Bueno, estamos con Harrison ya. Where are you, Harrison?
I am in Northern California, here staying at home with my family.
Oh, and your family is conformed with?
My wife and my 3 children.
3 children.
Yeah.
What ages? Tiene 3 hijos, ¿de qué edades?
They are 3, 5, and 7.
Okay, they are little.
Yeah, they're little and wild.
And how you and your family are living this complex time?
We are doing okay. It started off to be a difficult moment. My wife was not well, and it took a few weeks for her to get better and healthy. And with the kids at home and the school, it took a great deal of my time to care for her at the same time with the 3 kids. But now she's feeling much better, the family is stronger, so we're doing great now.
Bueno, estuvo la mujer. I'm going to translate, so please. Su mujer estaba enferma, ya se recuperó, así que los primeros días fueron complicados entre cuidarla a ella y cuidar a sus hijos. And how is the situation there in California? You have isolation obligatory, or how is?
Yeah, so it has been left up to the governors of each state to organize and to administrate laws to be able to combat and to be able to do something about this virus. So here in California, the governor, Gavin Newsom, has put in the stay-at-home laws, no school, only essential. If you need to go get food, if you need to get medicine, these things. But besides that, other businesses are not operating, and they're just recommending everybody to stay indoors and keep safe.
Okay, the same like here in Argentina. It's more or less the same.
Yeah.
How are you? Bueno, en California están como acá, en Argentina, en su casa, sin escuela, sin negocios, y se están cuidando en California. And how are you taking care of yourself now? Are you training? You meditate?
Yeah, well, it's been a process, because when this first came and the weeks after, meaning when the United States first realized they had a big problem. It was very heavy on me spiritually.
Okay.
For the first time, I didn't feel like picking up a guitar, I didn't feel like singing, I didn't feel like playing music at all.
Oh,
Yeah, and I am slowly coming into it. There's just, the two things. One is this pandemic, which is a horrible thing for the world. And the other
yes.
thing is our humble leaders, not only of America, but of the rest of the world as well. But specifically here in America, you see they're doing what they can that's going to cost more lives. And they are taking hundreds of billions of dollars for big business and for their friends. So you see the sadness that the rich elite are just going to use this moment
To make more money.
themselves. Yeah, it's another way of Babylon's system squeezing the people, and it's heavy, it's sad.
Okay.
But I keep myself fit. I still, the plant-based diets, and I do exercise. I have about a 6-mile run
Okay.
of the house, and I do that every day, every other day, and I'm just hoping and praying that this thing can pass quick with as few lives to be lost as possible.
Yes. Bueno, él cuenta que le pegó duro, que hasta estuvo sin tocar, sin agarrar la guitarra durante un tiempo, que bueno, está enojado, dolido con el accionar de los gobernantes, en especial de América y Brasil, Bolsonaro also, like Trump.
Yeah.
Pero bueno, here in Argentina, our new president, take the matter in time, I think. So we are low in casualties, but here a lot of people, when this starts, think that we have to do like America, like the United States, that is continuing in function. What do you think? It was an error by Trump? It was. What do you think about that?
I mean, we are just talking here as simple people. I don't know really what the leaders want out of this. If they are trying to save lives, then certainly most of what the president here in America is doing is the wrong moves and are mistakes. I don't know if he would view them as mistakes. It's a shame because perhaps this never needed to happen.
Okay.
Because President Barack Obama had put in things in place after the Ebola outbreak.
Yes.
And these departments were set up to interact with scientists around the world. They had hundreds of scientists. The actual department was called Prevent. And these were hundreds of scientists, including scientists in Wuhan. And in September, President Trump dismantled and defunded this department. And now we're here.
Okay.
So these scientists were trying to find these new coronaviruses and new viruses. They were trying to locate them and isolate them in animal species and to catch them before they jump to the human species. And he removed that, and now we're in a big problem.
Yes, very big.
So, we're going to have to do that again. The next president is going to have to put in a type of organization that works with scientists around the world to prevent these diseases from jumping into human species.
Okay. Bueno, dice lo que yo pienso también, que Trump se equivocó, que Obama había trabajado mucho en la salud y con científicos tratando de anticipar el coronavirus, y que cuando asumió Trump los limpió a todos, y bueno, y ahora estamos donde estamos. Do you think coronavirus will mark the history of humanity?
It will certainly be a mark in history. I don't know if you mean like a fatal blow.
No, I think like a change of paradigm.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that things can change and things don't just go back to the way it was before.
Okay.
Meaning that we have a problem. We have a deep-rooted problem within our capitalist system to be able to have individuals without impunity to just export the world and make billions and billions and billions of dollars, while the majority of the planet is struggling for basic needs. That's something that is not sustainable, has to change. So I hope that we realize that no matter if you're the biggest or the smallest person, this can come up to you and wipe you out.
Yes.
So we have to be conscious that life must be more than the individual. It must be more than just, I have my 3 children, you have your family, you are in Argentina, I'm in California, but we are together when it comes to the future of our world. And it's up to us to shape it and build it as we like. I am not a person to be, bigging up president government because they're not doing the right things for people. And you see here in America, even in this moment, they're taking this moment to reap the benefits and take the money from people. So we have to look at it with a positive lens.
Yeah.
And we have to say that things are going to change. But will they? I mean, it's like you see a lot of times an individual get sick, they go to the doctor. The doctor says, you have a real bad disease. You have a real bad problem. You have to stop eating meat. You have to, stop doing this and this. And you see that the person, for a few months, will do those things. But slowly they'll eat meat. Slowly they return, even though they know it's going to lead them into a big problem. They slowly go back to their old habits. So I hope that's not the case, and I hope that we can really learn a lesson.
Bueno, dijo un montón de cosas. Dice que cree que esto puede ser un cambio en la sociedad, que estamos unidos, que todo el mundo somos uno, que los tenemos que cuidar entre todos, pero a la misma vez tiene un miedo o algo así con respecto a la gente que va al doctor y el doctor le dice, tenés una enfermedad muy fuerte, te tenés que cuidar, no comer carne, no hacer esto, lo otro, y durante unos meses lo hacemos y después volvemos a hacer lo que veníamos haciendo, así que tiene cierto resquemor. And you, as a musician of Groundation, and your message, I have been studying interviews to do this one with you. You always say that you go to play to send a message, not only to sing, to be up there, if not to a conversation with the people. You are missing this?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm missing this. But I feel that, this is a time for us to stop and gain some strength for the future, to take a moment to really see what it is we want in this life. I feel that if music was to be able to happen right now, the moment is too heavy.
Okay. Like, yes, it's very difficult to go and play now, for example. Not only but we can do it, we can't do it, but also in the feeling to play.
Right. Yeah, just the feeling. The emotion is too deep, because that's what it is. When you're on the stage, you're trying to connect to what you would say a spiritual world, because the music, the people, it becomes one, and whatever is happening in the earth begins to circulate amongst the people. What's happening in the audience, what's happening on the stage, begins to circulate. And right now, as we have this conversation, it's a very sad moment for humanity.
Yes.
Oh, hurry, go back to business, go back to work, the economy. And they don't care about loss of life. You know, I see other friends, people in France, people in Spain and Italy, they have faced and they are still facing this virus and this issue of grave danger to their citizens. But they don't have the anxiety of, oh, the economy, money, go to work, you know. They just say, oh, it's on pause. And they should do the same thing around the world. No rent, no mortgage, no nothing. The government just gives them money for food, for basic necessities, and say, hey, businesses, here's the money for all your employees to work, no work. And we're just going to put it on pause for a few months, and then we'll get back. You know, that's really what needs to happen. Instead of being concerned to bail out the airline industry because of their profits and how much money they want to pay to all of their shareholders, they should say, here's the money, a smaller amount of money, so that you can keep all your employees, and just know you're going to have no gross income for these months. And when it comes back, it comes back and everything is fine. Instead, businesses that are not functioning, they just want to keep making money.
Yes.
So it's like we in America are paying the industries as if it's still functioning. Not when at the same time, people like myself who have to pay their mortgages and rent, I can't tour, I can't play music. So the world is like upside down. You know, that they want to keep the rich people rich and keep making their money during this time. Like Jeff Bezos from Amazon, he's made over $26 billion during this last few weeks. So people are making a lot of money off this, and that's not what we should be focused on. And here in America is like a hysteria about business. And
yes, here is more or less the same, with the hysteria of going back to work to generate money, and not so for caring of our life and our and the others that are around us.
Yeah, man, this is why you see me sing so passionately when I go on stage and say, oh, Babylon ruling. You know, I chant that out. Feel the spirit of the people, because Babylon has got their mind. It's like they want money and they don't care about their children in the future. They want money and power. And that's a sad moment.
Sí. Do you think this is a moment that for the dying of capitalism, the start of the death of the capitalism? Do you think?
I don't really know, because it has been a system that has been embraced by so many. I would hope. I mean, this is something that Noam Chomsky. You know, Noam Chomsky is a great writer, a great activist, MIT professor, and he has said that capitalism is fine, but capitalism with no responsibility is destructive. So that's the problem. The problem, I really don't think capitalism is the problem. I think that capitalism, where it's money, profit, without seeing the impact on life and society and people, and adjusting to improve and benefit all people, then you have a problem.
Okay. Bueno, Harrison de Groundation, estamos hablando con él, nos cuenta que él no cree que el problema sea el capitalismo, sino no tener en cuenta todo lo que está alrededor del capitalismo, la vida y demás de las personas, cuidar todo y no solo ser una máquina de hacer dinero. Let's change the subject a little. What does play music mean to you?
What does playing music mean to me? Playing music is everything, you know. It's the first thing that really sparked my spirit. So it's my life, you know, from my grandfather to my father to me. I grew up in a very musical home, so jazz music.
They were musicians also.
My father had a job with General Electric, but he was a jazz piano player. So
Okay.
from the 1950s. So growing up, it was, you know, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, and Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis. So music is essential, and it spoke to me, it touched me, and even my grandparents. My grandfather was a saxophone player. You know, before they had passed, they would always tell me that the more you can live around music, the more your life can involve music, will be the better for you and for your spirit. And
Okay.
I took that to heart, and it has served me well. You know, music is a beautiful thing. I talk about it on stage sometimes, about how, you know, before we had all these divisions and language, English and Spanish and all of these things, we were one. And in fact, the original language is music, because we were crying in the wilderness. We were beating our logs and our rocks together and making these sounds. And that is like our heart, like our earth that has a rhythm, like our universe. Music is really the initial seed of life, of inspiration, is really music, whether it's times of joy or whether it's times of sorrow. Music is really the spiritual language that we united as humans first, before we divided.
Okay. Él dice, le pregunté sobre qué era la música para él y en un resumen muy rápido él dice que la música es lo espiritual que nos une a todos en todo el mundo, que está desde antes de que aprendamos a comunicarnos de alguna manera, desde el latido de nuestro corazón, desde el inicio de todo, está la música. Here in all the messages I am reading, when I'm to you, one, it's saying that you saved him from a big depression in this time. He's listening to a lot of your music, and he's saying, Galeano Elias, 25, that you saved him from a big depression.
Yeah, I mean that is the music right there. That is the power of the music, and that's why we feel it and love it so much. Is that even myself, you know, people say, how come you sing so passionately? Every song you sing with this energy, and it's because you have to live that music, and when you live it, it really can translate and reach people, and it saved me too. You know, I'm singing for myself and for my children as I'm singing for you. So it's a oneness, and to see that it reaches people, like you said, this individual here. This is my first time ever doing this type of thing. So
thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I'm new to this technology of live video. So I see now the comments down below, and yeah, to see that it reaches the people is the greatest joy. And I can remember releasing Hebron Gate and the reaction from the people. And then We Free Again, which is an album musically very, very fusion and progressive. And I was wondering how people would take it. And when people really embrace the music of Groundation and We Free Again from Europe, South America, I said, oh, you know, I'm really free to sing about what I want to sing about and write what I want to write about. And to see that relationship with the fans and the people is such a joy and an honor, because music is music. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. A person could not feel it the same way, and Hebron Gate could have gone nowhere. We Free Again could have gone nowhere, and that would be it of Groundation. So to see that it reaches people, man, and we're having this conversation because of it, you know, is powerful, and it's beautiful. beautiful example of the true nature of the human spirit, the connection.
Okay. Es difícil de traducir. It's very difficult to translate all and things, questions. I'm rough with English also. Pero bueno, él está muy contento y lo llena mucho que su música llegue, que se entienda, que el mensaje ayude a la gente, sobre todo, que es lo que más lo llena, que esa misma música que él canta también lo salvó a él. Así que, nice album.
I just have it your next.
Why you have different projects like Groundation and Professor, and what are the difference between them?
Well, the Professor really developed out of a couple things. One was my relationship with the elders.
Yes.
I began to, every time I'd see Flava Holt, the bass player for Roots Radics,
Yes.
on tour, he'd pull me aside, Professor, we got to do an album. We have to do an album. And, you know, we had worked with Horsemouth Wallace on the drum for Akamovia and for some Groundation tribute Bob Marley tours. So I always, and Dalton Brownie and Dean Fraser and all these, you know, Robbie Lynn, Obia, all these great musicians from Jamaica that as a kid I listened to. I really wanted to do some music with them. And I write music all the time. So I write hundreds of songs. And it's only the songs that have this special thing to it that is Groundation.
Okay.
It's a polyrhythmic, an odd time meter, whether it's a non-diatonic movement where it moves out of keys, whether it's through composed where the song doesn't have a chorus and it doesn't repeat. It just starts here and ends, you know, 6-7 minutes later. It has long improvised solos, saxophones and keyboard and piano, and letting the musician speak. I often believe that Groundation best is when it's 50-50. 50% vocal, 50% music.
Okay.
Mental.
And that's what personally I love it in shows that are super. It's like a trip. Like you fly away with.
Yeah.
I remember one show in Gran Rex in Buenos Aires, full. Then we do a note with you, and I was taping the first songs, and I don't know where I went. I was like far away. I was there, but my mind was open in sensations.
Yeah. Yes, man.
It's like you look for that in your songs.
Yeah, from the first moment, from Young Tree, from the first moment we, you know, I got the musician together at the university and started to show them reggae music and began to, you know, for the first year, just play reggae music because the musician didn't come from reggae. They don't know reggae. So to me, having that jazz background made it so you could play with the rhythm. And by all means, I love instrumentalists. You know, I can listen to Miles Davis all day long. And a musician, a great musician can, like you say, can tell a story with their solo. So give the trombone player it, not a 16 bars, not a 32 bars. They are free and open to improvise, carry the music and the stuff to different places. And to me, that is something I always try to bring out of the musicians more and more. And you can do it live. I often would say that maybe the Groundation show is not as polished as the other shows people might see, but each night the music and songs will go places that it will never go again.
So you don't practice at all the improvisation part.
Parts, but let's we come to a tour. If we come get ready for a tour, we'll start rehearsing and getting things ready, and we'll just improvising.
Okay.
For the time. Just keeping the improvisation short, and then when we stage that we're free.
Okay, that maybe
it makes it more challenging sometimes. We play festivals and they say, you know, is your set an hour long? And we say, we're not too sure. Yeah, it can be an hour, it can be more, it could be less. You know, we don't really know how long it is. Most bands you see have rehearsed their set and they're doing a tour and they're playing those same 15 songs each night.
Always the same. Yes.
Always the same. In fact, most bands today, the drummer has a click track. So all the songs are the exact same tempo every night. The band is perfect because they're not really playing without a computer. You know, the drummer has something to lean on. So it's dead perfect and everybody is tight. And, you know, the show is really good. But for me, that's not grounding. Grounding is something that must be free. It must be in the moment. So if the people have a certain spirit in the crowd, we have to be able to follow the spirit and go wherever they want to go.
Bien, estábamos hablando de cómo son los shows de Groundation, de cómo improvisan, donde tienen la libertad los músicos, desde el trombón, el batero, el teclado, todos a improvisar, que esto les genera algunos problemas en los festivales, que les dicen que es cierto tiempo y ellos no saben realmente cuánto puede llegar a durar un show, porque a veces se cuelgan en esa conexión con sus fans o los que están mirando el show y bueno, y se van y viajan.
Hey Marcus,
let's go.
Marcus, can I grab my plug here for one moment?
Yes, please.
All right, take one second. Talk to the people.
Estamos hablando con Harrison Stafford, el líder de Groundation. Es difícil leer los shows, leer los mensajes en español y hablar en inglés y pensar lo que tenés que doblar. Por eso les pido disculpas si no se entiende algo o si no traduzco todo. Esta nota la pueden volver a ver en nuestro canal de YouTube. Que YouTube te hace, cuando hablas en inglés, te subtitula todo automáticamente. Así que ya va a volver. Le vamos a preguntar dónde está. Se ve que tiene un home studio.
Yes,
Me parece que se estaba quedando sin.
Technology business.
You are in your home studio?
Yeah.
Can you show us a little?
And there's not much really to see. You got Peter Tosh always there behind the drum.
Yes.
This is the drum set that Horsemouth set up for Rockamovia.
Okay.
That's a tapestry there from Zimbabwe when I was a teenager. I got that in Harare in the capital.
Okay.
You know, I'm always working with my Neumann M49 microphone. And
nice.
Simple setup, you know?
Okay. And did you record some famous songs of Groundation or Professor?
You know, I did, there's an album that I did for Soul Beats there called Natty Will Fly Again.
Yes.
And I recorded the drums and the bass and the guitars, all of that here in the studio. And that actually won the 2014 Best Compilation release for Reggae Point FR. So yeah, I recorded that album here. And I've done lots of vocals and percussion for other albums like A Miracle and Here I Am and those things.
Ah, okay. A history of your music is there. And we were talking about the difference between Groundation and we lost in the way we fly away with Groundation and the difference with Professor.
Right. Now I wanted to say that it was the connection with the elders, Horsemouth and Flabba, these musicians, as well as the type of songs. Because as I was saying, I write certain songs and they're Groundation, but there's a lot of other songs, and some songs you're right, they're just a good simple song.
Okay.
First chorus. It's not a Groundation song. You know, I'm not going to record that as Groundation.
when you write as this different style of songs, which one is more difficult or take you more time?
It doesn't. Nothing is more difficult or take more time. It's all depends on the ideas. You know, it can come very easily and very simply. You know, it can come very quickly. So I don't try to force it. You know, when I get my guitar out, I don't sit down and say, okay. The original project that I did outside of Groundation under Professor was the album Madness.
Yes.
And that was just me in West Bank, in Palestine, in the occupied territories, recording these little song ideas I had at night into my iPhone. And so that became that album. And it was a personal album. It wasn't a Groundation album. When Groundation does a record, the concept is very big. But this music was just about Palestine and Israel. And it was very personal to me, as you know, my religious and family background. So it was not a Groundation thing. And this was my first opportunity then to record in Jamaica, to record with all Jamaican musicians, and to do a very simple, you know, to the ocean people we will go when the band starts playing real slow. Just simple verse. And that's Roller Coaster. A little 2-minute, 3-minute song. No solo, none of that. And that's not a Groundation song. And to me, it was actually when I was in Palestine, in Ramallah. When I was in Ramallah, I was having a coffee with this Palestinian poet. And he said, oh yeah, I know, you play reggae music. And I said, yeah, I play reggae music. And I could tell that he wasn't happy. I said, this is very strange. I said, you know reggae music, like Bob Marley? He said, yeah, no, I know reggae music like Bob Marley. Let me ask you this. And he came right up to me. He said, let me ask you this. Why is reggae music so Zionist in its message? And I said, okay, the children of Israel, we want to go home. Exodus. We're going to our father's land, you know. It's like Zionist Theodor Herzl, you know, rhetoric that really he's talking about. And I understood, and I told him that, you know, it's just because Rasta is coming from the Bible. But Rasta and reggae, Rasta music, is the liberation of all people. Equal rights and justice for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. And he said, okay. So I said, you know what? Let me record this album with all Jamaican elder Rasta and come.
Like celosos of the other.
Yes, perhaps. I mean, nobody came out and said anything true to their heart and said anything, but actions speak louder than the word.
Okay, and well, in some time all the band or most of the Groundation get out, continue with the project, and it came the next generation album. How was that moment? It was difficult. It was like I see another interview, as I told you, and you tell that it was like a rebirth of the Groundation band.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly difficult. It still is difficult, but it's something that is necessary because Groundation has to have a certain spirit, not only on the record and not only in the music, but it has to have a spirit on stage. You know, we have to have a oneness. And through the years, we've had many different singers, different drummers, different percussion, different horn players, you know, all these things. And there was a conflict between the members, and I tried to resolve over time, but it couldn't be resolved. And the only way forward was indeed a rebirth. Let people, if people don't want to do it anymore, then that's fine. But we're going to continue on because this is something that I began, you know, 20 something years ago. It's something that really comes from, you know, my childhood with my father and grandfather jazz musicians, with reggae music hitting me at a very young age, Rasta, all these things from long before I met any of the musicians. And how we are not alone, even though we're here for this brief moment. We really come from a very rich history that involves our family, and it involves the entire human history of war, of love, of peace. And that is each one teach one. And Hebron Gate is this struggle and this confusion of good and evil that kind of meets a confrontation at this gate where good and evil collide. So yeah, these things just develop. I get certain concepts. I start to reason about certain things in my mind, start to have conversation with people, start to write music, and you see the music is echoing the thought. And so with this next generation, you know, just like the album before it, A Miracle, is when, you know, when I was with my wife here and we're pregnant with our first child and we're going to bring new life into the world, you see the power of the Empress. You see the power of the woman spirit.
I have a 3-year daughter, and I know what are you talking about.
Yeah. So that album is really about, it's about man and woman, but it's more about woman who really inspires man, about woman who really brings forth life, and about how woman really should be respected to the highest degree. And then from that, from men and women, you get the child, you get the children, you get the next generation. So all of these songs, father and child, at the point of writing it, I got 3 children now. So that's why the previous album, A Miracle, then becomes Next Generation.
Okay, I love it, the different concepts. I think music and albums need a
Yeah.
concert
Yes.
to get empowered and arrive to the people, more in reggae.
Yeah, I mean, reggae music, one of the reasons why I went to reggae, you know, I mean, I could have been a jazz musician or something, but I was a singer long before, you know, when I was a small kid, singing songs and writing songs. So at about 16 years old, I became very political. 16, 17, very focused, reading a lot of religious and spiritual scriptures, and growing. And I began to have conversations with people, and I would see that it would kind of create a fight. But if I was to put it in a song and begin to sing about it, everyone's dancing and having a good time, and there's no fight. So you see that you can really say a lot of political and social things within the music. And reggae music, only reggae music, has that history. And those who listen to reggae, Burning Spear, Bob Marley, Israel Vibration, those who listen to reggae are really listening to consciousness. So that's the music with the people who have the ears of what needs to change in our society to become better. So I think reggae is crucial for that. And the album has to speak, has to have a message. And people would always say, oh, I love this song or that song, or do more. And to me, it has to be musically diverse. You know,
Okay.
the more keys, each song in a different key, the more different feels and different tempos. If you have 10 songs, the best thing for an album is to have 10 different keys, 10 different feels, 10 different styles. You know, within reggae music, people hear, oh, it's bang, bang, yeah. There's steppers, there's backbeat, there's nyabingi, there's one drop. All of these different things can be put into the reggae to really make the album rich.
Rich, yes. That is I am asking, that is the big difference that have Groundation, your music, with another roots music or another style of music, because it's very different. It's like unique inside reggae music, the Groundation style.
Yeah, I mean, people have become fans and copy the style, you know, try to have long solos and drum solos and bass solos, and I know bands around the world who write polyrhythmic things in 7, and I know that comes from Groundation, because before, you know, I had taught the history of reggae music, and there was not much polyrhythmic things happening. I can only remember on Civilized Reggae, one Burning Spear song from the 1970s that goes into 3/4 in this bridge part. Rock in
Okay.
time, this little part that Spear does. And to me, that is really a Groundation signature.
Okay. And you work a lot with the elders. We hear PelaGatos love the Congos,
Yes.
and Cedric Myton, of course, you know. I have to thank you because more or less I get in love with Cedric Myton with the Gathering of the Elders. That is a blowing mind album for me. Then we work with Cedric, we meet him, and we love him. You know why?
Yeah.
I hope I have 70 years and be like him.
Yeah.
But it's impossible. How was working with them? What you learn working in Jamaica? What is the difference of making a record in Jamaica and United States? A lot of questions.
Right. I mean, in Jamaica, it's very easy to record, especially doing the solo work, this work that's outside of Groundation. When you're doing reggae music, pure, you get those elders in, and it's easy. You have an album recorded in one day. You know,
Wow.
they get the song, they get the lick, Flabba finds his bass line, and you're already in it. I will never record on the 2-inch analog tape in Jamaica again, because that
The next
technology
generation.
Huh?
Next Generation was recorded in tape.
Yeah, on 2-inch. Yeah, all the Groundation work from Hebron Gate
Okay.
is on the 2-inch, and I worked in Jamaica on the 2-inch until the album Madness. On the album Madness, we were recording at Harry J's, and Harry J's tape machine doesn't work. The motor doesn't work. So they had to send for a 2-inch tape machine across Kingston. And I get there in the morning time, and Stephen Stewart says, yeah, man, the tape machine going to be here soon. I say, the tape machine's coming in the truck? He said, yeah, it's coming right now. I said, Stewart, there is no way you're going to get the tape machine off that truck into the studio and press record and it's going to work. There's no way. So you have to find an engineer who can calibrate the machines so that your zeros are actually zeros, or else you got a problem. And working in Madness and recording on the 2-inch, I said, you know what? I'm not going to record on 2-inch ever again in Jamaica, because you have to really keep the machines up. The motors have to be running correctly, and your calibrations of each track have to be correctly balanced. And if you go to Tough Gong and these places, you can take old 2-inch and you can run it and put it into the digital. They'll just run it 1 minute, 2 minutes until it starts to wobble. Then they'll take the tape off, clean it, put it back on, run another minute, and they'll piece the album together. And you've transferred it from 2-inch to the digital world. But you could never record on those machines.
Okay.
You get it back, and it would be it would not be right. So in California, we have these great studios like where we recorded Hebron Gate, We Free Again, all the albums, even this Next Generation at Prairie Sun. They calibrate the machines, there's scooter tape machines. Everything is working top. So if you want analog, if you want the original gear working correctly, Jamaica is not the place for it.
So you record all the Groundation albums and Professor in 2-inch tape?
On 2-inch, yeah, except for One Dance. That album was recorded in digital. And like on this Next Generation, we record all the drums and vocals and bass and guitars and things, horns, solos, all on the 2-inch tape. Usually we're in the studio, the drummer and the piano player is playing the organ, but the actual Leslie speaker is in a different part of the studio.
Okay.
So the drum is isolated and getting recorded. And the organ and clavinet is also being recorded, but the speakers are not there. And then I'm singing a scratch track in the studio with my guitar as a guide. The bass is next to me, recording to tape and getting that. The lead guitar is recording the tape. And we have in the isolation booth, if it's a saxophone solo or a trombone solo, they're in the isolation booth. And that's what we record. All those things are recorded live. So once you play the song, you have the solo, the drum, the bass, the organ, clavinet, lead guitar, everything recorded. And then once we record all those things, and I would go over and overdub the rhythm guitar, overdub the vocal, then we would transfer the tape to digital.
Okay.
Because the first song on the album is Vanity. And Vanity is the first ever reggae big band song. So that has 12 horns. So you have 5 saxophones, 4 trumpets, and 3 trombones. And you only, on the 2-inch tape, people have to understand that on 2-inch tape machine, you will only be able to record 24 tracks that are lined up here. 24 tracks. And if you record something big and heavy on this track, it's going to go a little bit on the track before and after.
Okay.
But it's a magnet now, imprinting on the tape. And so you have this type of spread. And even for the horn players, it was confusing because they're so used to the digital world. Oh, let me try another solo. Say, well, track 12 is your track. There's no other track. We need tracks 13, 14, 15 for all the drums, all the bass, all the stuff. You don't have another try. If you want to try the solo again, you can, but there's no undo. The solo that you have is going to be gone forever. So you have to play it. You have to play it from beginning to end. You know, we couldn't fix a hi-hat, fix a kick drum. It's all on that tape. And this is the recording. So So it really makes it so you better be well rehearsed, and you better be, you know, confident as a musician and know what you want. So we record that on the 2-inch, and as you're saying, to be able to get something like Vanity recorded, you need a lot more tracks. And in the digital world, you can have infinite amount of tracks. So, you know, to do these big band stuff, you have to go to the digital world.
Okay, and why you decided to record in 2-inch so much albums?
Well,
it was like a craziness. It was a search.
It's costs more money. It takes more time. It is. People always say that. What are you doing? You're crazy to do this. I mean, even just you did the song. It's 6 minutes. You made a mistake at the end. Let's do the song again. Even the time just to stop, rewind the tape machine, find the place again. All that takes 1 second on a computer.
Yes.
So this is taking hours of studio time when you add it up. So yeah, it is crazy. It was because we recorded Young Tree and Each One Teach One in digital. But it was the first ever digital format, which was ADAT. The first ever multi-tracking digital format. So it's like a VHS tape. And each VHS tape can have 8 digital tracks. And you have 3 of these machines to be able to get the 24 tracks. And man, the sound, I did not like the sound. And Each One Teach One, we recorded it. I mixed Each One Teach One 5 different times with 5 different engineers in 5 different studios. And I didn't like it. I don't like the sound of it. And when I was in Jamaica, 1999, 98, I went down Orange Street to a studio called Lego Studios. And Israel Vibration was recording an album there. And I went in studio to say hello to Skelly and Wiss. And there's this engineer sitting there, a white man, older white man with a long ponytail and glasses. And they're working on the 2-inch tape machine. And I say, "Oh, how you doing? You know, my name is Harrison, Professor Groundation." He said, "Oh, Jim Fox, you know, Jim Fox is here." Jim Fox, of course, I know you, you know, from all the Ross records, all of the albums of Israel Vibration and Culture and Gregory Isaacs, and all the name I always see is Jim Fox, Lion and Fox. Man, how do you do it? You know, they had released this album Forever, Israel Vibration album. And man, I loved it. How did you get this sound, you know? He said, "Oh, it's no secret. I use 24-track 2-inch tape." So after Each One Teach One, that was like Young Tree, around Young Tree time, 98.
Harrison, Instagram is cutting the interview. So I cut and I call you again. So you. Ahí volvemos, ya volvemos con el señor Harrison Stafford, amigos y amigas. Ya lo vamos a llamar otra vez. Mientras voy seteando todo acá para transmitir para todo el mundo a través de YouTube, obviamente. Bienvenidos otra vez aquí a esta cuarentena o Quarantine Note with Harrison Stafford. Ahí le voy a mandar la invitación al Instagram oficial de ellos, Groundation. Todavía no está, así que se lo vamos a mandar. A ver, Groundation. ¿Qué más a este Harrison? Está tirando una data infernal. Infernal la data que está tirando. No sé si están entendiendo todo. Así que prepárense para continuar la charla. La verdad, una masa, Harrison. Buena onda total. Ahí ya se sumó, así que ya lo invito. Out al señor Harrison Stafford. Welcome back.
Wow, Wow, technology is great.
After this commercial, we came back.
Our sponsors.
You were telling out when you meet Jim Fox for the first time.
Right.
I saw him working in an album of Los Cafres, one of the big bands here in
Yes,
Argentina, Reggae, recording at Yes.
sound is. With Will Blades, great organ player, and with Zach, and with Isaiah, and with all these, you know, Alrika and Brady, with all the great musicians and singers. It's important to let the fans know that the tradition and the music and that high caliber of musicianship is still very much there. And we are a group that is ready to build and to grow it beyond what it was. You know, we have
And this new album, you are in June 15, you say?
Yeah, June 5.
June 5. It's with image, like we can see the show.
It's not a DVD. No, they didn't have the DVD. It was audio. It was audio. We are planning to do a very epic DVD for the Hebron Gate 20th anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're looking to do something there. But I mean, so much is in the air, you know. I mean, even with Groundation, with the musicians, you know, how do we keep people able to feed their families during this time?
Yes.
I am working now to try and set up an ability to do, you know, live performance, but
like,
I don't know anything about that. I hadn't done it before, and we're isolated at home, so you know, I'm trying to figure it all out. But you know, how do we survive as a group if this takes months and months and months?
Yes. See how you eat. So because also there are performers in the group, and it's very difficult here in Argentina. I talk a lot with a lot of musicians in these cuarenotas, I call them, like quarantine notes.
Yeah.
And all are with this problem, thinking about what the fuck to do, especially the ones that are, how do you say, que son, that they only play in live shows.
Yeah,
like,
which is so many musicians, you know, they don't have,
yes.
even these elder musicians like Horsemouth and Flabba, all these great Jamaican elders, they don't have any credits on all those albums. They don't have any writer's percentage on Burning Spear music, so they have to play. And if there's no tour, how are they going to, what are they going to do?
Yes, it's difficult. I always think when I saw playing them, they are with respect, elders with a lot of years, and they are continue going around the world like Israel Vibration and playing at night like 11, 12, and it's very. I think it's very difficult for them. They love doing that, but it's very heavy. I think in Jamaica the situation may be complicated.
Yeah, no, Jamaica now is having a real bad time of the COVID. You know, they first, when this pandemic came to Jamaica, they jumped and had 15 cases, 30 cases, very quick, and people were a little scared. And the government, Andrew Holness, and the government of Jamaica responded very quickly. And the UN even commended Jamaica on their response. But then about a week ago, in Portmore, outside of Kingston, in a call center, they had 20 cases of the employees, 20 cases out of the blue. And all of a sudden now they're over 300 cases. And Jamaica's hard. I mean, this is a place it's poor people. So to say, stay indoors, don't go out, only for essential things. I mean, people don't have refrigerator to put things in the refrigerator for later. What they buy, they have to eat. They can't just leave it around. You know, this is a very hot, a very humid climate. So it's also something where a lot of people in Jamaica, the money they make that day is the money they use to buy the food for their children that same night.
Yes.
So they cannot go days and days like this. It's a big problem that they are having, and that they're going to have is and once people get desperate, then it gets dangerous. And,
very dangerous.
You know, I'm very sad to say that the second death in Jamaica from COVID was a good friend of mine, Sam Clayton Jr., who passed away from the disease very early on. So this is something that is very serious. And my friend Sam was not an old man. He was in his 50s. I just hope and pray that it can pass Jamaica and can pass all these poor countries without devastating the people, because the people can't support that.
Yes, the poor, it's very difficult to the poor. We are in our homes, we are talking here
Right.
internationally, but there are people that they are heavy, they're heavy problems.
Yeah, man, we're fortunate. We're very fortunate, you know, to
Very
be able to be here,
fortunate,
to
yes.
be able, the ability to self-isolate is something that is not afforded by many. You know,
Yes.
we are blessed to do it, but you know, we have to, in this life, we have to be concerned about everybody, and we cannot live this life with so many billionaires out there. I mean, it breaks my heart to read that the head of Amazon is looking to buy a home. He's looking at a house he's going to buy for $162 million. What the heck is a home? It's just something that breaks your heart. If you were to take
162 millones de dólares. $162 million. You say
a house, yeah,
there is a house that it's cost that?
right? Yeah, it's
What?
crazy. And to think if you were to take half that money, what you could do for poor people with $80 million. And then what? You'd be stuck with an $80 million home.
Shitty home. It's a
Yes.
shitty home.
This is a dump. This place is a, you know, like a cardboard box. An $80 million house. Man, it's we laugh and we smile only because of the sadness and pain.
Yes. It's like a protection. It's like a shell.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to Jamaica, you see Jamaicans are very quick to laugh and have a big laugh, you know, because sometimes that's all you can do in this life.
Yes. Yes. I want to ask you about Rasta in your life. How you live being a Rasta, and you spread the message all over the world with your music.
Well, I mean, it requires a bunch of things, but it really depends on the individual. You'll find Rasta who are vegan, who grow and cook their own food, and you'll find people who are Rasta and they eat meat, they eat chicken, they eat beef, they eat cow, you know. So what is it to be Rasta?
You are a vegan.
Me personally, yes.
Okay.
My children, no. But we try the best. They have cheese and these things. But you know, it's all about the individual, and it's more about the liberty. You want to protect this earth. You want to not take away things. You want to give things. So we are not here to kill life. We're here to make life. And that is why we plant our vegetable gardens and we eat our vegetables and our fruits. We cook our bean stew, and we take to that nature because we don't want to harm life, animal that lives and breathes. But the most important thing I feel in this time to be Rasta is like to have the knowledge that we are a part of a greater whole, and that to build up community, to be self-reliant, to educate your children, these are things that Rasta teach. To honor history. You know, it's really a struggle, the Nyabingi order. It's really a struggle of equal rights and justice for all people. And that is the struggle to which Rasta is a part of. It began in a different sense. Rasta in Jamaica began as a very African-centric, because they were looking to find, and it was very important for the world, to find their own image of God. and to see that a king was crowned in Ethiopia, a Christian king, that was the light and still is the light. And so you have to follow those teachings. You have to follow those principles. Do good, show love, have no hatred in your heart. You know, you really have to, you know, hatred cannot build a healthy human being. So we are here to break down barriers. And you see in this life, especially here in America, with these politicians, they're trying to build up barriers and divide people. A Chinese virus, they say. They're trying to divide people from one another. And we as Rasta are here to break down those walls and barriers, to say no. If you want to talk about Chinese, if you want to talk about Syrian, those Syrian children who are struggling and dying in the desert in refugee camps, those are my children. And they need to be respected. They need to be treated as decent human beings. And if somebody can go out and buy a $162 million home, then we certainly can feed, clothe, and shelter the entire world population. And that's the fight. That's the struggle. If somebody wants to be a vegetarian, if somebody wants to be a vegan, then all the best to you. It's about loving each other and caring for each other. Once we have those principles, then things like capitalism is fine. Once we understand that we are only as free as the next person, and honor that. Freedom of religion, freedom of choice. You know, we're not here to fight down. People ask me sometimes, like, oh, you know, you hear about reggae music talking about homosexuality. You know, what do you feel? I say, it's not, I am certainly not here to fight against people's freedoms. We're here to fight for freedom. We're here fighting and struggling for freedom of choices. I'm not here to remove that. I'm not here to take away somebody. It has nothing to do with me. If I want to be free to call my God who I want to call my God, I must respect everybody's freedom. Yeah.
Yes, bless, respect. I think the same. I love it how you express these ideas, and because also reggae is like a bad name in the past. I think it was like a prejuicio. I don't know how to say it in English. Of this, of homosexuality, of all the lifestyles in the world, in everybody, no? The respect, the next is our liberty finish when the next start. Sorry for my English.
Yeah,
I try to
I
think.
understand what you're trying to say, man.
Well, I was looking at one of your interviews, and I was thinking to finish this talk with this that I stole from you a little. I return it to you now, and you in an interview you say, Marcus Garvey said, "Without a vision, the people perish." This is the moment of this, I think.
Yeah. So it's kind of the echo and the response to that is, what type of vision are we putting in, not only into our minds, but into the minds of the children? And it must be a vision of hope. It must be a vision of music and life celebration. And it has to be a vision of equal rights and justice for all people. And that involves balancing the planet, because what's happening environmentally is a sense of environmental persecution on the third world. So we have to be really mindful, you know, what our vision of the future really is, and we have to leave it at hope. We have to leave it that, you know, I talked to my father. My father is almost 80 years old, and in this moment is like a crazy moment for him, because life has suddenly changed so much with the election of Donald Trump, with the environment and the knowledge of this, and with this pandemic. my father said something to me I couldn't believe. He said, you know, he feels bad for me because I have more time on this earth than he does. I said, Dad, you can't say those things. You have to have hope. And he said, you know, at the same time, he's involved in this resource that gives education and scholarships to poor children in America. And my father does these same type of things, these interviews with all these young kids. And he said the one thing that does keep him hopeful when he does these interviews and sees these 17, 18-year-olds so smart and so humble and so loving and caring about what it is they want to achieve in this life, that's what gives us hope. It gives us hope to see these great young people come up and say, no, acknowledging the path that we're on as a wrong path, and that there is other ways of living. And we have to make the change if we're going to see longevity, a future for the human race. We have to live differently. And so the hope comes from the next generation.
You think this next generation is the key to the change in the lifestyle
I think the key to the change is our generation.
Our generation.
Yeah,
you have more, how much years you have?
I have 40,
sorry for the
42
question.
years on the planet.
Okay.
So 40,
I have
how old are you?
41. 41.
All right. So
in 1 week, 41. In 1 week, 41.
Ah, nice. Beautiful. Many more,
Thanks.
man. And I feel that as you are, as I am, here with a small young family, children that they don't know. I mean, my kids are outside playing in the California sun, having their little ice lollies, riding their bikes. They're in a little happy world. So while they're in that world, we keep them in that world. And we do the work so that when they become to get that vision and that sight, the world is in a better position. So, you know, people of my father's generation, they are going to pass on with time. And we at 42 years old, we in our 40s, we are now beginning to hold the reins. We have the power. We have the knowledge to change these things. And we have to change them. You can't wait for my children to become 25 years old, 30 years old.
No.
So I have to do the work. That is why I'm sitting here in my studio with my guitar, trying to think of these ways of reaching people so that they can become the future leaders, the future mayors and the future governors and the future prime ministers and presidents, to be able to see, okay, we are one people. Just as these big businesses that want to make all this money, their money comes from the people. So we have to build up this foundation. And to build it up, it has to be in love.
What? I didn't understand the last thing.
To build up this solid foundation, you have to build it up with love.
Of course, of course. I was thinking when you were talking about, I was talking the other night with my compañera, Silvina, and we have a fun moment because my little girl, 3 years, talked to his grandma, 94, and my little girl said to him by phone, I love you so, and talking about the difference between the generation. And this grandmother told him, thank you very much. And she didn't respond like, I love you also, or something. And it was all, and we start a chat about the different generations, the different generations. How our fathers were difficult to say I love you, and for me it's difficult to say I love you to my fathers, and how my daughter is always telling all he loved I don't know, his cat, he loved his pet, he loved all. He's very little, she's very little,
Yeah.
but it's like we are the change. We have to become the change. It's
Yes.
an obligation, a
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah, man. And we have changed a lot. We have changed a lot, especially if you look at you and me as fathers. You know, we have changed a lot. The view
Yes,
of, oh, the father works, the father earns the money. Oh, the woman is supposed to be in the kitchen, keep the food and keep the family. Things have changed. You know, we have grown. We have become fuller. We're able to take on more. The female, the woman is able to go out and work and do her career. We as men are able to come and take care of the children. I mean, when I was a kid, and if I got sick and whatnot, my father didn't have anything to do with it. You know, when it was time to go to bed, my father didn't read me a bedtime story and tuck me in. Not at all. In fact, I was told, don't bother your father. When your father comes home from work, tired, in traffic, driving all this way home, he has a migraine headache, he's in the room, don't trouble your father, you know? If you get sick, go to your mom. If you get this, but for me, I'm sure you're the same way. We take such pride in reading to our kids and playing
yes,
with
I
them
love.
and, you know, doing Legos and, you know, really, really that role of father. Because
Yes, be near.
father doesn't mean provider. Father doesn't equal provider. Father is the one who is supposed to, with the mother, guide and instill values and to show the children love from the moment they're born, to show them that you have a father. Your father's here for you. Your father's not here for work and to give you money and toys. Your father's here for you. And that is something that
Yes,
it will change our children. It will change the coming generation just because of the role of father has changed.
yes. Thanks. Thanks
Yeah,
for that change.
yeah. I love it. I couldn't imagine, you know, as a kid in my father's shoes, what life was like. But life was so different, you know? You couldn't
Yes,
tell a man that then.
it's not our father's guilty.
Right.
La culpa no es de nuestros
No,
padres.
it's just life. Life changes and it takes on different meaning, you know? And life goes in circles too. Life goes in circles, you know? Just like some days you're up and some days you're down. We
Yes,
are hopefully finding better ways. And through the rocky road of life, we are gaining more freedoms. We are gaining more equality. And we are gaining more justice. Only
yes,
the problem we have today is this gap of wealth. That's the problem. You have such a small piece of the population taking up so much of the pie. And there's only one pie. So we
yes.
have to use our minds to better divide.
Distribution.
Yeah, exactly, you know? There's even a Congo
I
song that say we need an equal distribution of the wealth right now.
see the Congos always said it's telling Rasta government,
Yeah, in a sense, yes.
the government with the heart. So I think he's right. He have more experience than I.
Yeah, and that is, you asked me about the elders and what I've gained from them. It's definitely the experience and the lifelong commitment, you know. This is not something that we put on someday and take off the next day. You know, this is not something that we are committed to today and tomorrow we change. Just because we don't see the gains and the goals that we like when we like, we have to be committed to the cause. So many of these elders have lived their lives giving every day and have died and moved on. And we too must be here. That's something that Hebron Gate was really trying to speak about, is to say that, listen, youth man, this is not a struggle that you're going to gain tomorrow. This is
Okay,
something we're going to be working on for generations.
and we are working on that.
We are.
Be
We
careful.
are in such a crazy moment right now, though, man. But we're going to get through this. And, you know, I give thanks for all the love of you and all the support from the people. and just know that we give our love and our support back, and hope that they can find some joy in this moment of isolation.
Yes, I think I was thinking to tell you that we need new songs. We need, but I know it's a very difficult time to sensible artists to make a word, to make a speech,
Yeah.
and for you and for us, or for all, it's a very difficult time. We have nice days, we have down days, but we have to keep struggling this time. And I don't know. I hope this pass through and let us a new beginning.
It has to be. It has to be. We can't go back to the way we've always been doing life. You know, we have to have hope. I give thanks for my children once again, because the moment is so heavy. And as you said, for an artist that feels, you know, that feels deeply the spirit of what's going on this planet, now is very sad. A heavy, heavy, heavy moment. It pains and grieves me. But to have my 3 children, they bring such joy, and they are so happy and so beautiful that they lift my spirit.
Yes,
They
of course.
give me the energy, you know. They make it, whenever I'm down, whenever I'm reasoning too far about political and social situations, and I return to my family and, you know, read stories. You know, we're doing the homeschooling now for all 3
Yes.
kids. And so
A lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of homework. But they can really, you know, I would say to the families out there, you know, take this time not to be down, not to be depressed and sad, but to spend it connecting with your children, because the children will lift you up.
Yes, I know, and I live that every day when I get a hug or a kiss,
Yeah, beautiful.
or anything else.
Anything. Yeah.
And you with your children, you sing them, you read books, you read history, you tell us, but you sing songs to get to sleep them, or
Sure.
something.
Yeah. No, I sing all the time, and they sing all the time too. And yeah, you know, I sing, whether it's classic songs like "Stand by Me" and all these things. And you know, you had Bill Withers just pass away, "Lean on Me." So that my kids, we actually were doing in the studio here, we were doing a kids version of "Lean on Me."
Okay.
And we were just messing around. I was playing the drum, and they were all playing the guitar and singing. And yeah, you know, that is a huge part of our family. And I just hope that they continue with the music, because, you know, to me, singing is everything. Singing is something that you do, like I said in the beginning, whether it's joyful or whether it's sorrow, we sing and we play music.
I want to say hello to all Brazilian that are there are a lot of them. I know they love Groundation and Professor, because you make huge tours
Right.
in Brazil,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful country.
Indeed.
So I don't know. I am having such a good time. I don't want to cut this conversation. That's the real thing.
Well, we can do it again. You know, we can talk stories some more as the weeks progress.
Okay, thank you very much, Harrison. It was an honor, a pleasure, and it was an honor and a pleasure. It's like thank you very much, for real.
You know it. I can hear my kids are getting antsy. You know, it's homeschooling time, and they call me Mr. H. Where's Mr. H? You know, I come in as a professor. You know.
You are good at math, literature. What is your ability of a teacher?
When I was in school like that, I was good at mathematics, for sure. I excelled at that. But with the kids, it's just trying to get them motivated, to get them enrolled, you know? Especially the boys. The girls seem to be like the girls are more focused. And the boys run around and they don't want to hold the pencil, and they, you know, Sit down, son, sit down. So, you know, it's about focusing, and it's about finding when they're inspired. You know, I have the same thing with musicians. You know, they might not be focused all the time, but when the moment comes when they're inspired, you have to really strike them.
Yes.
And, you know, it's like when you're making a fire and you just get the spark, you know, you have to then feed it.
Okay, yes, that's true. Well, Harrison, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And see you next time.
Yeah, to everybody, you know, big up yourselves, stay at home, be safe, be strong, keep your loved ones close, and we'll be in touch again, I'm sure.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Harrison.
enough love.
Have a nice day and quarantine.
You too, honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Bless.
Harrison Stafford estuvo charlando con nosotros 1 hora 40, una masa. Harrison, un crack. No sé si lo disfrutaron tanto como yo. Disculpen que no traduje, que no, porque se me fue de las manos y es difícil mantener una conversación en 2 idiomas cuando no te dedicas a esto, a hacer el doblaje o lo que sea. Es un quilombo. Pero bueno, gente, estén ahí. El miércoles, 14 horas, somos PelaGatos en vivo a través de YouTube, a través de Facebook, a través de PelaGatos y Radio, a través de pelagatos.com.ar. Vamos a estar hablando con un montón de gente. Y el miércoles a las 17 horas, acá por el Instagram, voy a hablar con el señor José Gaona de Zona Ganja. Así que vamos a hablar con él. Otro que tiene un mensaje interesante y potente para que nos cuente. No cantó porque habíamos quedado en que no iba a cantar, así que preferí no presionar y respetar lo que te pide el artista, que ya nos da... Es la primera entrevista que da desde que estábamos en cuarentena. Así que un golazo. La pueden revivir en nuestro canal de youtube.com/FM PelaGatos, y con esto